Hi, my special star students. Hope you're doing great. It is that time for our class read aloud, The War with Grandpa. And yesterday we ended it at a very good part where Peter had written his letter to his grandfather and he had dropped off that letter to start his war in the bedroom on top of Grandpa's pillow underneath the bedspread. So now Peter is just up in his room and basically waiting to see what happens. So we're going to start with chapter 15, and it says it's titled "It Takes Two Sides to Fight a War." Here we go. Well, it was a lot of fear and worry over nothing, because Grandpa didn't say anything or do anything about my note. Not the next day anyway, or even the day after that. I didn't know what to do. Here I had declared war, I written a note, and my enemy totally ignored the whole thing. It looked like this was going to be the shortest war in history. That day and the other one after, I followed Grandpa around with him and I gave him plenty of chances to talk to me when no one else was around. I even sat through a whole afternoon with him while he watched one of those stupid soap opera shows on TV. Later, I went to the candy store with him when he wanted to go buy some cigars. It took forever to walk just 2 blocks because Grandpa just was limping along so slowly. "Is there anything that you want to say to me?" I asked him on the way back. He grinned at me. "Only that I really like your company, Petey. You're so easy to be with. Isn't there something you maybe read lately that you want to talk about?" I asked. "Maybe like a note?" Well, I almost said that part. "Oh, no, just the newspaper," he said, "and there's just so much bad news in it. I'd really try not to pay too much attention to it." I was learning something about Grandpa. He was one of the world's best ignorers, and my fight to get my room back looked like it would never get started. Chapter 16, The First Strategy Conference. "You are so stupid. It's amazing you can even live," Billy was saying. We were at his house now playing his game, Stratomatic baseball. Steve and I had been on one team and Billy had been on the other. Naturally, Billy always fixed it like that so that he had Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb on his team, and he always seemed to win. "You don't start a war with a note," Billy said. "Do you think that the Japanese sent a note before they attacked Pearl Harbor? 'Dear United States, pardon us, but we're going to sink all your ships. Sorry.'" "Are you sure your grandfather even got the note?" Steve asked. "Yes, he couldn't miss it. It was right on his pillow." "Well, maybe it fell off when he took the bedspread off," Steve said. "Then where would it go?" I asked. "On the floor? Out the window?" "It was a big piece of paper. It just doesn't fly away." "You have to attack," Billy said. "Not just write a polite note. Bam! Drop a bomb. Wham! Hit him with a rocket." "I'm not going to bomb my grandpa," I said. "Then what are you going to do?" Steve said in his meticulous way. His eyes seemed to be laughing at me as he waited for an answer. "I'll do something," I said. "Some war," Billy said. Meanwhile, he threw the dice and his all-time all-star team scored 2 more runs on a double. "It's time you started get it fighting, boy." All of a sudden, something clicked in my head, and before I knew it, I began to laugh. Billy and Steve looked at me as if I had now gone nuts. "Thanks, Billy," I said. "Thanks a lot. Time I did get started all right. Time, sure enough." And then I told them what I was about to go do. Chapter 17, Night Attack. I really figured that I wouldn't be able to sleep at all that night, but I was wrong. I set my AM/FM digital clock radio for 2 o'clock in the morning before I clicked off my reading lamp. I guess I must have tossed and turned a while thinking of what I was going to do and began getting nervous about it. But when that radio came on, playing a favorite song of mine, I was fast asleep. I put the light on, shut off the radio, and I looked at the note I prepared one more time. And this is what the note said. People who steal other people's rooms should not sleep well, especially at night. Surrender my room and the war will be over. The Secret Warrior. So I took my pocket flashlight, put on my slippers, and went out down into the hallway. I went down the stairs to the second floor. I sneaked slowly and carefully, trying not to make a noise. The house was so quiet. It was weird. At the bottom of the stairs, I paused for a moment. My heart was beating, thump, 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 so loud in my chest. To tell you the truth, I felt uncertain about what I was going to do to Grandpa, but to get back what was mine, I had to fight. All's fair in love and war, somebody said, and I hope he wasn't the same guy who said, respect your elders. I sneaked down the hallway like a thief in the night, tiptoeing past my parents' closed bedroom door and then Jennifer's, and outside of my old room, I stepped around that floorboard that always would creak loud. Then I turned the doorknob, and as slowly as I could, I opened the door and went into the room. Even in the dark, I could see that Grandpa was lying on his back under the covers, fast asleep. He was breathing slow and easy, making a little whistling noise that ended in a snore. One of his feet was poked out of the covers at the bottom of the bed. I walked very carefully around the floorboards. I knew what ones creaked, and I went to the dresser. Here is where I needed my pocket flashlight. I covered it with one hand and made sure that the light went on with very little electric light coming out of it. I noticed that he had a little electric clock on the top of the dresser. This was the nasty part. I took that little clock and I turned the alarm arrow so that it pointed to 3 o'clock. I have to tell you that when that arrow went past 2 o'clock, it made such a loud click that I almost jumped a foot in the air. Be brave, Secret Warrior, I told myself. Then I pulled out the alarm button of the back of the clock. I set down my note smack dab on top of the dresser where even a blind man would be able to see it. And I got myself out of that room in a hurry. Upstairs, I jumped into my bed, turned out the light, and settled underneath the covers to see what was going to happen next. In less than 1 hour, that alarm clock would be going off in Grandpa's room, and Grandpa would be waking up in the middle of the night. Be still, my heart, I whispered to myself. And so tomorrow we will get to enjoy Chapter 18, The First Peace Conference. Oh, I wonder what that's going to be about. I wonder how Grandpa's going to react when that alarm starts going off at 3 in the morning. My goodness. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope that you have some time today to read or to maybe work on some math facts, multiplication, division, and of course making time to have some fun. So I will be missing you guys, but I'll be back on tomorrow to read the next few chapters. Bye, my third graders.